Coming at you live on this Saturday evening episode. Hopefully we can get, there we go. We got a recording on the video as well for everyone. So happy New Year to all. Happy 2021. We're excited about a new year. Hopefully everything will be better. Good vibes all around. Let's try to just be as positive as we can for 2021. As always, I am your host for the evening, Maddie Ice. And
What's up?
how's it going? Excited?
So I'm angry, like all the time. But to preface that, I've been a smoker for 27 years, and for the last 4 years I've been vaping instead of smoking, and we quit cold turkey right before Christmas. So I'm actually like 2 weeks right now. So like it's just Nick fits like crazy. So I mean, it's awesome that I quit smoking. I feel great about it. But God, I just want to kick everybody.
Just want to
walk up and punch everyone in the nuts.
Pretty much.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I think I'm not around you during this time period then.
Oh no! And then tonight bowling, I shot. I average 200 on this league, and I shot a 491 series. My highest game was a 170.
Yeah, killing it.
It was bad. So I was mad at that. I was mad at like everything.
That's understandable. It's like me the other day when I was driving around with Mel, and I just told her, I said, everyone's driving is making me angry, and she's just like, yeah, I can tell, because I was just like yelling at everyone at how they were driving. Like I was just so mad. I was like, why is it such a terrible driver? I don't understand. So
yeah. And for those watching the Skype channel, like it looks like I'm wearing an American flag. It's actually a bowling jersey for Columbia 300. So,
hey, either way, represent. I got my Rams jersey on, so representing with that as always. But yeah, awesome. Well, let's start off with.
We'll start off with I think appropriately, the college playoff played yesterday.
Let's go. Those who had missed that, the first game was number 1 Alabama versus number 4 Notre Dame, and it kind of played out and happened the way that everyone thought it would, which was that Alabama, steamrolled them, and their defense came to play. Let me look at the final score here for what it was. 31-14, and the player of the game was their Heisman candidate, Devontae Smith, who had 7 receptions for 130 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he now is the all-time leader in touchdowns for college football. We had been talking about the running back for Alabama being nominated for the Heisman, but he never became a finalist. And so this wide receiver I think he might win it, to be honest, because he'd be the first one since Howard from Michigan in 1991.
Desmond Howard.
Desmond Howard, yeah, he'd be the first one to win it for a wide receiver since 1991. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think, because you always think in the past for Alabama, you think defense, and their defense was always dominating, and they were always known as a defense. But for this one, it ended up being their offense is what's like killing everyone and what's being unstoppable. So, what what did you think of the game?
This wide receiver.
Think of this? He's got a chance to take Heisman from all.
Oh, he's definitely got a chance. I think the one thing that kind of stands out to me is the last wide receiver that received the Heisman, Desmond Howard, did not make a living in the NFL as a receiver. He made his living in the NFL. I'm getting an echo again. Are you hearing that?
No, not right now.
Oh, okay, so it's just me. I'm going crazy, man. Anyway, Desmond Howard made his money in the NFL as a return man. He got a Super Bowl MVP with the Packers as a return man. Like he wasn't known as a prolific wide receiver. So my question is, if this kid does win the Heisman, is he going to be a prolific receiver, or is he going to fall apart and just be like the next Desmond Howard, Tavon Austin? Come in as or Cordero Patterson, come in as a wide receiver, but don't really make it as a wide receiver. Make it more as a return man.
Oh, now I hear that go.
Yeah, it's terrible, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I do agree with you on that. One thing that stood out to me about this wide receiver though is that his IQ is like off the chart because he's able to read a defense as he lines up to be able to know what type of route he should run or how he can be able to defeat the defender. And even when they double team him, I mean, he's still making catches. He was getting double teamed a lot that in that game, and he still got 130 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like he's still like you try to take him away and make Alabama do something else, and he's still finding ways to do it, even because they line him up in so many different places. They line him in the slot, they line him on the outside. Like I think if he goes to the NFL, as long as they use him the right way, he could be like an Amari Cooper. I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of people have been comparing him to a Marvin Harrison type. If you're getting compared to Marvin Harrison, a Hall of Famer, I mean, your chances are pretty good in the NFL. I would think so. And he could have gone in the draft, last year when all these other prolific wide receivers, it was the most wide receivers and quarterbacks taken like in the first 2 rounds in like the history of the NFL draft.
Yeah.
So, he's probably going to be a first round pick shoo-in, even if he doesn't win the Heisman.
Watch the Raiders pick him. We need defense, but let's bolster our wide receivers.
Oh yeah, exactly. So, but the Alabama, we kind of knew it was going to happen, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. The second matchup is the one that kind of I think surprised all of us, and that was number 2 Clemson versus number 3 Ohio State, and I'll give it
That
to
wasn't even a game.
yeah. Yeah, I'll give it to Justin Fields, the quarterback for Ohio State. He got hit with the crown of the Clemson player's helmet right in the side of his ribs because he was trying to spin out of it, and when he spun, the guy just nailed him right in the side. And I swear he had to have broken ribs or something like because every time he moved, he was like wincing or making a face, and he went out there and threw like a 56-yard bomb to one of his wide receivers, just dropped it in the bucket, like right into the guy's hands while having hurt ribs. And he did that like 4 times. Like they hit him with the long ball like so many times. And it's like Clemson's defense didn't show up. Like I have no idea what was going on with that. I think Trevor Lawrence still played pretty decent. I just feel like, Clemson's defense just didn't show up. They had one player that was ejected, their linebacker, who's the captain of the team. He got ejected for targeting because of that hit to the side on Justin Fields. which I think is a crappy way to end your season because he's a senior, you know, and you get ejected in the second quarter of a semifinal championship game. I mean, and one of their best corners was ejected from the previous game for targeting, so he couldn't play until the second half. And so I don't want to make excuses for Clemson because I mean Ohio State obviously came to play and they had a game plan. Um, but I have mad props for Justin Fields for sticking it out and putting on a performance. He had more touchdowns than he had incompletions in the game. Like that's just nuts. Um, I don't know if you saw that hit or not, or if you got to see him play any. Once he
I
got
did a little bit, yeah. No, what's crazy is like it's more than just him. Like I give it up to those receivers. Like yeah, he had more touchdowns than incompletions, but the receivers were not dropping the ball. The receivers, like there was a couple balls that he threw that probably should have been incompletions, but I mean they were low or they were too high. But those receivers made sure to keep that clean. They kept his game clean, and I mean I can't even name one of the receivers on Ohio State, but those guys were freaking money.
yeah.
They juked out like arguably the best secondary in college football.
Oh, had a little bit of a lag there. Now I got you back.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what all you heard, but the receivers for Ohio State, they destroyed arguably the best secondary in college football. They made them look silly.
Yeah. No, and then the run game too, though, for Ohio State was really good. Their running back, he made Clemson look like they didn't even know how to tackle. Like it almost looked like Clemson kept on trying to go for like stripping the ball or doing whatever to make him try and fumble, and he made them look silly. He would just shrug them off because they were trying to strip the ball. And I remember watching the first half, and I was like, did Clemson forget how to tackle? Like, are we looking at day one of training camp? Like, hey, we're gonna practice tackling. Like, I don't know. It just blew my mind. But Ohio State earned it, and and everyone was skeptical when they were like 16. Now it's going to be number one Alabama versus number three Ohio State in the championship game. And I hate to say it because I said Clemson was going to do the same thing, but I feel like Alabama is kind of unstoppable. Like, if they have a Heisman Trophy candidate at wide receiver, a Heisman Trophy candidate at quarterback, they had they before they had a running back that was nominated for the Heisman, but he didn't make the finals. So, like the three main positions on offense, you have all in the Heisman race. Like that's hard to compete against. And how healthy is Justin Fields going to be after getting hit in the ribs like that? I know it's a
Yeah.
couple weeks before the game, but really, how ready is he going to go for that game? I see it going Alabama's way, and unfortunately, because I don't like Alabama, but they get another title under Nick Saban. I don't think it'll be close. I can see it almost being like they did against Notre Dame, only allowing like 7 points. How do you see it playing out? Because before you said Clemson was going to beat Alabama as well, so.
Yeah, I thought Clemson was just as unstoppable. I thought their offense was just a massive juggernaut, and like I said, they had arguably the best secondary in college football. But I don't know, man. After what Ohio State did, I mean, you got to give it up to Justin Fields. You have to. And honestly, I think Bama's going to win it. This is the first time Bama has had a legitimate first round quarterback, a true like guy that could go in the first round. Like he's a top 4, top 3 quarterback in college football. Like Alabama's never had that. They've had like a mediocre quarterback.
Yeah.
And they've always had good wide receivers. They've always had strong defense, and they've always had great running backs. That's always been their thing.
Yeah.
Never had a good quarterback, and they have a legitimate, like probably, I would say a top 10 pick quarterback. He's going to go in the top 10 in the draft if he actually goes into the draft. I don't know if he's actually opted in or not yet, but I don't think Ohio State can beat Bama. I think Clemson was probably the only team that could give them a run for their money, but Ohio State could probably surprise us, you know?
I mean, 6 years ago when they played each other in the national championship game, with the team that Zeke Elliott was on for Ohio State shocked the world and beat Alabama in the national championship game.
Yeah.
And no one thought Ohio State was going to have a chance in that game, and Zeke like ran all over them. You know, and that's usually the name of the game. If you want to beat Alabama, you have to have a good running game so you can just sit there and drain the clock while their offense sits on the sideline. You know, that's always the recipe for success if they're able to do that. So we'll see. It's going to be a couple weeks before the national championship game, so we'll talk more about that later. And you know, Justin Fields and how healthy he'll be going into that game and everything. The other game that we can talk about that was Cincinnati versus Georgia, which was interesting because, you know, Cincinnati, everyone won, you know, they were undefeated. A lot of people were saying that they deserve to be in the playoff, you know, in the top 4. They have a good quarterback that could potentially be taken in the draft as well, I feel like. He's kind of a dual threat quarterback. And they kind of go in, they build up a lead against Georgia. They get one turnover that turns into a touchdown for Georgia, and then Georgia climbs back into the game and ends up kicking a last-second field goal to beat Cincinnati, breaking their undefeated season. And the coach, the head coach for Georgia, ran onto the field. He rushed the field when they won, and he was like jumping on his players and all of this stuff, and they had to like pull him away to go shake the Cincinnati coach's hand after the game was over. He acted like he freaking won the national championship. I thought it was kind of ridiculous, but does this kind of, even though Cincinnati lost, does this still kind of help the underdog, lesser known conferences to help them build a case for, you know, trying to play in more games like a playoff game? Or
I think it hurts them. I think Cincinnati losing to Georgia hurts them because it's like, hey, you were 9-0, but guess what? You lost to our third best team in the SEC. Like, they're third best. They didn't even make it to the SEC championship, and you lost to them. So no, we're not even going to look at you next time you're 9-0. Like, I think it hurt them more than anything. Like, if Cincinnati had won that game, I think we'd be talking a different story. I think the lesser known conferences would start to get a little more recognition. You know, like, what is it? Coastal Carolina. Those guys are freaking beasts. They're beating the crap out of everybody that they run across. And I mean, it's not even funny, but they're not going to get the recognition because they're a small school. They're in a different division, you know. But like, you have Cincinnati, who could be potentially a big school. You know, you think of Cincinnati. Cincinnati has always been big in basketball, not really so big in football. They're starting to come into their own in football over the last like probably 5 years. You know, they're starting to show that they're a better team. They're getting a little more recognition. But I think losing to the third best SEC team hindered them.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'll help with their recruiting. Like, I think more people will notice them and maybe want to go to that school. but it will hurt them in the sense, like you said, with trying to, get into a playoff berth or maybe get ranked higher than ninth, because I think that's what they were ranked, was ninth. So, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, a loss did hurt them. I think the win meant more to Cincinnati than it did Georgia, but it didn't show because of how the Georgia coach was acting when they freaking won. I didn't think he would be that bothered by it, but they were all excited, and like even the announcer was like, if you don't think bowl games matter, I mean, look at how the coach is acting, look how the players are acting, and it's just like the only bowl games that matter are the playoff games. Like no one cares who wins the freaking Duracell battery bowl. Like, it's or whatever hell names that they come up with. Any sponsor that wants to sponsor, you get a bowl. I mean, there's like teams that are 4-4 in a bowl game. Like, you're 4-4 and you get to go to a bowl game. Like, this makes no sense to me. So I mean, I think the only bowl games that matter are the playoff games. So
Well, I mean, bowl games nationally, yes. But when like your home state gets into a bowl game, like the school in your home state that you root for, like when Utah went to the Fiesta Bowl against Alabama and beat the crap out of them, that was exciting. That was awesome. I mean, it didn't do anything. Yeah, we won a bowl game, but we didn't win a championship. When they went to what bowl game was it that Alex Smith went to? Didn't he go to the Fiesta Bowl? And then it was Brian Johnson that went to like the Sugar Bowl or something like that and beat Alabama.
not sure, because I know that was the year they won the national championship, wasn't it? When Utah won it.
Utah hasn't won the national championship.
When they
They've
went
never
like
even been given the berth. They went undefeated, yeah. Oh, so the Tostitos Bowl, it was the Tostito Fiesta Bowl. They played Penn. They were undefeated, and there was two teams, like 3 or 4 teams that are actually ahead of them in the rankings. I think they were ranked 5th. They were undefeated, and they didn't even get like a shot at like a national championship. They got put in the Fiesta Bowl against Penn, who was 5-4, and they were undefeated. And they completely destroyed Penn, and that was when Alex Smith went number 1 in the draft. But it was the Sugar Bowl, I want to say, that they got the berth into against Alabama, and like they were undefeated. Bama had lost 2 games, and Bama was still ranked higher than they were. It made no sense. Did you hear all that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was exciting for people in Utah, but nationally, there was no recognition on it, other than it was funny to watch because everybody's like, oh, Bam, like every commentator was like, Utah doesn't even deserve to be on the same field as Alabama. Like, they're not even in the same like level. Their players aren't even the right size. And then Utah just came in and wiped to the floor with Bama, and everybody's like, what the hell happened?
Oh, man. Well, with you talking about Alex Smith going number 1 overall after that, there are a lot of quarterbacks so far that have like declared for the draft, obviously, with the season coming to an end. The Florida quarterback who's nominated for the Heisman is declared for the draft. They had a terrible game. I can't remember who they played against. But the Florida quarterback threw like 3 interceptions in the first quarter or something like that. And it's like he hadn't thrown 2 interceptions like the whole season, and he threw like 3 in that one quarter. And as soon as that happened, I was like, yeah, he's not going to win the Heisman. Like, his Heisman chances just flew right out the window. I mean, yeah, he's a finalist, but you throw 3 interceptions in one quarter, like they're not going to even look at you after that. But he's declared that he's going into the draft. BYU's quarterback has declared that he's going into the draft.
Yeah.
I know that Trevor Lawrence obviously is going to go into the draft. I don't think he's announced it, but I mean, obviously he's going to go because a lot of people are saying he's going to be the number one pick. And then a lot of people are saying Justin Fields is probably going to declare once the national championship game is over. Don't know if Ian Book from Notre Dame is declared or not. I just don't see him being a good NFL quarterback. I don't know. It just something about him doesn't seem like he would be able to make it as a starter at least. I mean, maybe as a backup or something, but so a lot of people already declaring and saying that they're going to go into the draft. So we'll see how quarterback heavy driven it'll be again this year. At least for the first couple picks, and then obviously some running backs are going to be up there. Travis Etienne, Harris from Alabama are some of the top running backs that definitely will be taken.
I still don't think those will be top 10 picks. Running backs just are not top 10 picks anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's rare to see a running back go in the top 10. I think Saquon Barkley was the last one.
And Gurley did.
But Barkley did it like 4 years ago. He's the last one to do it. It's so damn rare. It's not even I don't even think Zeke Elliott went in the first 5. I don't think he went top 5.
Zeke was in the first round, I think.
I know he was first round, but I don't think he was top 5. But I mean, I could be wrong. But it's because of the shelf life of a running back, they're typically not taken in the top 10.
Yeah, they try to save them for later rounds, definitely. Unless there's some type of transcendent one like Barkley. They thought Barkley was, especially with the combine that he had. I mean, everyone thought and he's done well, but he's just been very injury prone, unfortunately. So, but all right, so yeah. So that's it for college football news as far as I am aware. To get into NFL news and topics, a lot of teams, obviously with COVID cases rising again, with it being like winter and cold time, NFL players' COVID numbers are going up again. There are a lot of players that are going to miss out this Sunday, tomorrow.
Alvin Kamara and pretty much the entire running back core of the Saints. So like Latavius Murray, and their third string DeAndre Washington, like they're all out. Yeah. Like I think Taysom Hill's going to get the start at the running back.
I wouldn't doubt it, to be honest. And then, for the Rams, Cooper Kupp is out. Leonard Floyd is out. I think Michael Brockers is out. There's all these people that are not going to be able to play. I know Big Ben is not playing, not because of COVID reasons, but they just want to rest him because they feel that there's no need to win the game, I guess. Because they're not going to get the number 1 seed since the Chiefs already have it. No worries. Somebody is beckoning you?
No, it's being loud.
Yeah, and so I'm trying to think of some other people. I think that was about it for like a lot of big names, but it just seems like it's going to be very influential on how some of these games go, especially for what's going on. It looks like for the Cardinals, the wide receiver
Christian Kirk, yeah.
List.
Browns did Kevin Johnson.
It looks like Hayden for the Steelers is tested positive for it. Man, so it'll be interesting to see. So with that, I guess we should probably look at like the like playoff, like I guess what could happen in the playoffs. Do you have like a little thing for the scenarios to be able to say like what's going to happen for a lot of the teams, depending on like who wins and who loses?
What's that? Sorry.
I was saying, do you have a thing for like the playoff like scenarios, like if who wins or who loses to be able to like get in? Um, we could talk about that a little bit with some of the matchups coming up.
Yeah, let me pull that up right now. Tired of this feedback, man.
Right? It's terrible.
Okay. So race for the NFC wildcard spots. The Rams clinch with either a win or the Bears loss. The Bears clinch with a win or the Cardinals loss.
So
the Cardinals clinch with a win.
if the Rams beat the Cardinals, then that means the Cardinals are out, basically.
That means the Cardinals are out. Yes, and the Bears are in. If the Cardinals win and the Bears lose, both the Cardinals and the Rams get in.
Okay. Fair enough. And the Rams, another thing with them is Jared Goff, won't be playing because he had surgery on his thumb. So the backup for the Rams, Walford, will be playing and getting his debut. Now, the scenario with that, just to talk about a little bit, especially with me being a Rams fan, but I think it's something to talk about, especially with playoff implications like this. If the Rams get the win and they do decently well with Walford playing, do you feel then that shows that Goff needs to be replaced and it's more Goff having the issues than it is Sean McVay play calling issues?
Yeah, I'll 100% agree with that.
Yeah. So if they're able to get the win, they're able to do pretty well with Walford in there. I think that kind of just shows that Goff needs to be replaced, and there's enough QBs going into the draft this upcoming year that we can get someone decent in the first round, even if we pick kind of low in the first round. Or even in the second round maybe, but I think we could trade and get into the first round, especially if we trade Goff and get a pick or something. But with that, I mean, like you said, the Rams in that scenario. What is some of the other scenarios in the NFC? I know with the NFC East, there's a lot of different scenarios other than the Eagles, because I think the Eagles have been eliminated.
The Eagles have been eliminated. So Washington, is it still feedback?
I heard a little bit, yeah.
Oh, dude, this is annoying. Sorry. Anyway, Washington, if they beat Philly, they're in. It's done. It's over. Cowboys clinch with a win plus the Washington losing. So Cowboys can still win. But the Giants, it's the exact same thing. The Giants have to beat the Cowboys, and Washington has to lose to the Eagles.
And okay, so I've heard a lot of people talking about this, and one of my friends that we haven't talked about, because obviously David's a Cowboys fan and Boo Boo's a Cowboys fan, but my other friend Will, who's a big Cowboys fan, I was talking to him the other day while we were playing some Mario Kart, and he basically said he feels like there's like a conspiracy that the Eagles are just going to throw the game because they would rather have the Washington football team get in than the Cowboys. So they're not actually going to try and beat the Washington football team because they don't want the Cowboys to get in. Um,
I would dare him to say that to one of the Eagles players' faces. Like 100%. Like I dare you to say that to a professional football player's face that you guys are going to throw the game just because you hate this other team more. No, no, no. I don't think any team actually truly throws games. I think that they make mistakes. They make a lot of mistakes. And the Eagles have made more mistakes than most teams have this year. So, and their biggest mistake was playing Carson Wentz as long as they did, not putting in Jalen Hurts. Like Jalen Hurts has been a beast for them.
Yeah, he's definitely given them like renewed life. It's like they're definitely a different team because of that. Which I feel bad because Carson Wentz basically was the big reason why they made it to the playoffs and won that Super Bowl. I mean, I know Nick Foles was the one who finished it off, but they didn't win all those games beforehand with Nick Foles. They won all those games with Carson Wentz. So I just feel bad because I feel like he could still probably do really well on a team. You know, he's got the right stuff. Obviously, I mean, he almost won MVP that year if he wouldn't have gotten injured. So
I think Carson Wentz is going to be with the Rams next year.
yeah, we brought that up last episode. Nope. Saying that.
I still stand behind it. So there are a couple more scenarios here. It's the seeding scenarios. So who gets the home field advantage? So the number one spot in the NFC. AFC is already tied up. It's the Chiefs.
Yeah.
NFC. If the Packers beat the Bears, they have the number one seed. However, if they lose and Seattle wins, the Saints get in. Saints are number one, as long as the Saints win. Yeah. If the Seahawks win and New Orleans and Green Bay both lose, the Seahawks become the number one seed.
Oh, wow.
So the Saints have to hope that Green Bay loses to the Bears, which isn't going to happen. And Seattle is going to beat San Francisco, which will happen. So Seattle's going to win. So they're going to sit back and hope that New Orleans and Green Bay both lose.
Yeah.
And New Orleans has the Panthers. So I honestly think that all three of those teams are going to win this week. I'm just saying that right now for my picks. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. But yeah, I think the Packers are actually going to end up with that home field advantage, the number one seed. But, I mean, there's still some scenarios that can happen.
Fair enough. And then the AFC, I mean, obviously, like you said, the Chiefs have the number one spot there. But I know it's a tight race between the Colts and the Titans, right, for trying to get in.
Yeah, it's the Colts, Titans, Dolphins, Ravens, and Browns. So the Colts need one of those teams to lose. Any one of those teams loses, Colts are in and they're out. Okay. So the Titans win the division if they get a win or or they're in the playoffs period if they get a win and they win the division. So the division is they have to win or the Colts have to lose. The Colts to get the division need the win plus the Titans' loss. So the Titans can clinch either way that happens.
Yeah.
I don't think the Colts are going to be losing because they're playing the Jaguars. Update, there's a new bottom five.
Yeah.
We discussed that last week. Anyway, so the Dolphins, if they win, they're in. The Ravens, if they win, they're in. The Browns, if they win, they're in. The Colts, if they win and one of the following, a Tennessee loss, Baltimore loss, Cleveland loss, or Miami loss, and they're in. Any one of those. But with the Dolphins, Ravens, and Browns, it's like if any of the other teams loses. So with the Dolphins, Baltimore, Cleveland, or Indy loses, whether they win or lose, they're in. Ravens, if Cleveland loses or Indy loses, Ravens are in, win or lose. Browns, Indy's loss, Tennessee loss, plus a Baltimore win. So an Indianapolis loss or a Tennessee loss plus a Baltimore win and an Indianapolis win and a Miami win. They would get in. So basically everybody has to win.
Yeah.
The first team to lose is just out, basically.
Makes sense. And the Browns losing to the Jets this past week, that basically killed their chances for winning the division and crushed your hopes and dreams of being able to have all those bragging rights of picking the Browns as the division champs. They let you down. They lost to the Jets. I mean, the Rams lost to the Jets too, I know, but still, like
the only thing they had, the only offense they had was Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. They did not have a receiver. Like they pulled up their practice squad receivers.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, but still, I mean.
But I think they still could have forced it down their throats.
Chubb and Hunt, and you have Baker Mayfield to run the ball on 4th and 1? Like,
there's a quarterback sneak.
Terrible idea. Horrible. He fumbles the freaking ball and they lose the game. Like, just awful. But I mean, yeah, it's just one of those things where I feel bad for you because I was just like, man, now he, can't have those bragging rights when he said that the Browns are going to win the division.
They've still done better than anybody ever expected.
That's true. I mean, but it would be sad. I think it would be a very disappointed and failed season if they don't make the playoffs because they had a very easy chance to do it this year, and beating the Jets was part of it, and they couldn't get it done. So I feel the same way with the Rams. If the Rams aren't able to get it done, it's like a failed season because they had plenty of opportunities to do it.
Hey,
so
like my team's a failed season. The Raiders. I'll own it. Like, failed season. Dude, we beat the Saints and we beat the Chiefs, and then we can't turn around and beat the Falcons, and we barely beat the Jets, and then we get our asses handed to us by the Colts. Oh, and hey, we beat the Browns too. And then we give it up to the Dolphins on the greatest no-look pass ever to exist.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah. Failed season for sure. Hey, failed like 20 years.
Just keep it rolling, man. Keep it rolling.
I'm a little bitter, can you tell?
Oh shoot! All right, well, let's get into our top 5, bottom 5 then. Like you were saying, because there's a new bottom 5 for sure when it comes to that. We'll probably agree with our bottom 5 though, because that's what we normally do when it comes to talking about that. So I'll start off. So, oh man, at number 5, let's see. I am gonna go. Let's see. I'll go with the Falcons at number 5. With the way that their season has been going, poor Matt Ryan, having all those leads in games and then just blowing them, their defense blowing them all the time. Let's see, number 4. I'll go with the Eagles with what they've been doing, and not, like you said, not starting Carson Wentz like they should have. Number 3, I'll go with the Broncos. Yeah, enough said when it comes to the Broncos.
Hey,
And then,
Matt, really quick. I can't hear you on the podcast.
let me go here.
There you go. I can hear you again.
Okay. That is probably because I was using my phone to look at the standings.
So you've
Hope,
got Falcons, Eagles.
yeah, Falcons at number 5. Or no, sorry. Yeah,
You said number 5.
yeah, 5 was Falcons. 4 was Eagles. 3 was the Broncos. 2 is the Jets. And then the new king of the worst record in the NFL, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Never thought that the Jets were going to get dethroned, but they officially have. So the new number 1 Jaguars.
Huh? Okay. So you didn't put the Bengals in at all.
The Bengals have beaten the Steelers. You know, they've who else did they beat? They beat another pretty decent, or maybe it wasn't a decent team, but they still have 4 wins under their belt now. I mean, they kind of been doing pretty good, and with beating the Steelers, I feel like they kind of got out of my top 5 after that.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious about why you didn't put the Bengals in, but that's actually why I wasn't going to put them in the bottom 5 either, was because they were able to beat the Steelers. So yeah, my bottom 5 is exactly the same as yours. Like, it's Falcons, Eagles, Broncos, Jets, and Jaguars. Mixing up there now finally. And hey, wait, for the first time all season, we could say the Jets are on a win streak. They've won 2 in a row.
I'm telling you, they're hot right now. They're hot.
They'd be scary in the playoffs right now.
And now they're saying freaking Gates or whatever the coach's name is. They're saying that like he should keep his job now just because they've won 2 games, and I'm just like, he still has done diddly crap for that team. Like, I don't think he deserves to keep his job.
Terrible.
At least that's just my opinion. But now, people are saying that he deserves to keep his job. All right, so top 5. So I guess since I did my bottom 5 first, I'll let you do your top 5 first.
All right. So coming in at number 5, I'm going to put the Seahawks, because they've kind of stepped up the last few games and really shown that, hey, we're here. We're going to play good, and we're playoff bound. Like, they won their division. It's solid. It's sold. It's over. Number 4, I'm going to put the Saints. They got Drew Brees back. He looked really good. I think they're gonna make a deep playoff run, honestly. Number 3, I'm gonna put the Bills, because they're on a hot streak, man. They're looking. I think they're probably the only team in the NFL that's gonna give the Chiefs a run for their money.
Yeah.
Honestly. Number 2, Packers, and number 1, Chiefs.
Oh shoot! Always leaves that good taste in your mouth.
Nope.
Oh my goodness, I love it. All right, I like your top 5. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on the teams that you picked. As much as it pains me to say, number 5, I would definitely put the Seahawks. Gosh, I hate them so much. But
At least it's not number one.
yeah, true. So yeah, Seahawks I would put at number 5. Number 4, the Saints. Number 3, your wife will probably hate me, but I'm actually going to put the Packers at number 3, and change that up on the order that you had it in. And then number 2, I'm going to put the Bills, and then number 1, put the Chiefs. So, yeah, like you said, I agree with you. I think the Bills are probably the best team in the AFC to give Chiefs a run for their money, just with the defense. And then adding Stephon Diggs was the best decision the Bills ever made during the offseason. It was worth the trade. It was worth paying him the money. Like, it was worth everything. So it could put them over the hump to maybe try and beat the Chiefs. And they're used to cold weather too. You know, if they're gonna have to play the AFC Championship game at Kansas City, the Bills are used to the cold, so it won't bother them. Like, it would be perfect weather for them to play in. So, yeah, that's the route I'm gonna go down for that. Alrighty.
Was there anything else that we needed to cover, I guess, before we get into our
Not that I know of. I was kind of looking at Devontae Adams' stats just because it's freaking insane. He's got 109 receptions, 1,328 yards, 17 touchdowns. He is top 5 for all of those stats. I think he's actually top 3 for most of them. He has played 14 of the 16 games. And he has that stat line.
Gosh.
That is freaking insane.
Yeah. I mean, he is like a freak of nature, basically.
Yeah. And he actually, I think it's a cool little shout out to him and everything. Madden actually put him in the 99 club this last week.
Oh wow,
which is really awesome. I think he's only the second one this year that they put in the 99 club. They put him and Russell Wilson in the 99 club this year.
Oh wow. Well, I know there's probably not
too many wide receivers in 99, maybe Antonio Brown back in the day. So I mean, that's cool for a wide receiver to get that. Alrighty. Well, was there anything else that we were going to go over before we do our picks?
Not that I know of.
All right. Well, let's do it. Let's get into our picks of the week. NFL picks of the week. The final week. It's the final picks. Da 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 da.
There you go.
Sorry. Cool. All right. Got that on my. All right. So let's take a look at the updated pick score. So I am at 182.5 and 79. You are at 176.5 and 82.
I am only 6 behind you, dude. I have made up some ground.
You have indeed.
Getting scared yet?
I mean, a little bit, only a little bit. So we had talked about when the playoffs start that we're going to do more points, obviously, for winning playoff games. So we'll talk about that next week once the playoffs start for that. So let's get into the first matchup. I'm not using my phone anymore. I'm using the ESPN online to do the games, so it won't be starting with the Rams game like it normally does. So the first matchup it has on there is Miami at Buffalo. Unfortunately, just like the app, it doesn't have the stats on there like we normally do. But yeah, so let you start as per usual.
So this one's a little scary because it definitely has some playoff implications. Buffalo's already clinched their division. But if Miami loses this game and the Colts win, Miami, after their storied season and everything they've done, they're out. And the Colts are playing, as I said earlier, the Colts are playing the Jaguars. Miami has to win this game. They have no choice, but I don't think they will. I think the Bills are going to take this game.
Alrighty. And then, I mean, do we know who is even starting for Miami since they're so wishy-washy at quarterback? Just throwing in
Tua. They said Tua.
I feel so bad for Tua. It's like whenever he makes a mistake, like he's going to be pulled. I mean, that's no way to play as a quarterback. Yeah, I mean, Miami really needing to win this game. How much are the Bills going to play their starters? How much are they going to really care about winning this game? There's no number one seed at stake. Gosh,
but there is the number 2 seed.
Yeah, but I mean,
between them and the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go with Buffalo as well, I guess. It's one of those things that's kind of hard to tell if Buffalo's actually gonna, try as hard as what Miami is. Poor Dolphin taking that swan dive.
So basically, my question with it is, you say we don't know how much the Bills are going to start. So what it comes down to is, do you want to play the Ravens, who are going to be the number 6 seed, or do you want to play the Browns, who are going to be the number 7 seed? Which one would you want to face? They win, they pretty much have the number 2 seed locked up.
Yeah. All right. Next matchup is Baltimore at Cincinnati. So I get to pick for this one. Baltimore playing for their playoff hopes. Bengals just trying to play spoiler. The Bengals, like we said, have been beating some good teams here lately. But I think the Ravens are going to go all out. I think the Ravens are going to take it, and Lamar is going to do whatever it takes to win, including having to run the ball 1,000,000 times. So.
I think this is actually going to be a hard-fought game. I think it's going to be a really close game because the Bengals are one of the teams that have been able to stop Lamar from running as much as he does in last year and in their one game this year. But I think Lamar wants to go back to the playoffs, and I said that they wouldn't make the playoffs, and it sucks because I think they do. I think they actually win the game and they go to the playoffs.
Alrighty. Next matchup, playoff implications again, Pittsburgh at Cleveland. You get to start off with this one.
Big Ben's not playing. Eric Ebron's not playing. James Washington's not playing. James Conner's not playing. Yeah. I don't think Minkah Fitzpatrick is playing. I don't think Joe Hayden is playing. So they're benching a lot of people because they're already in. They don't care. They're in. They're not on the same wavelength as the Bills where, who do we want to play? They don't really care who they're going to play. They're going to beat anybody. Because guess what? Both of the teams that they would play are in their division. So they're going to be facing them for the third time this year. and they beat them every time. With them being benched, I'm actually going to put my lock on this as the Browns.
Ooh, locking it in. Locking it down.
Oh, I should have put it as my upset. Damn it.
Flip-flop it? Flipping it?
Yeah, let's put that as the upset. I forgot that they had the lower record. Upset.
Upset alert. All right. Going with the upset. I like it. Yeah, I'm gonna follow suit with you, and not necessarily as a locker and upset, but the Steelers just don't care, and the Browns need it. So I'm gonna go with the Browns on this one. They are gonna come full force. They want to finally break through and make the playoffs for the first time in like 50 years. All right. Next matchup that doesn't matter. No playoff incomplete. Yeah. No playoff. Why can't I say the word?
Implications.
Yeah, there we go. But it's two eliminated teams, the Vikings and the Lions. What team really cares about winning this game? I'll still go with the Vikings because I feel like the Vikings they got some better stars on their team. They still got Cook, Justin Jeff.
One of my rookie years, he asked me, he's been awesome.
Person.
I can agree with that. I honestly think that Justin Jefferson will win Rookie of the Year. The guy's like, there's nobody that's as good as him. Like, he has done so much for the team, it's not even funny, even though they're not making the playoffs. But at this point, the Lions already lost their coach. Mike Zimmer's playing to keep his job. So I think the Vikings actually step up and they take the win over the Lions.
All right. Next matchup, the red hot New York Jets versus the New England Patriots.
This is my pick.
Yeah.
How do you go against the Jets that have won 2 games in a row? Oh, yeah, you do, because it's Bill Belichick. It's the Patriots.
Oh, my gosh. So, I think I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I gotta make it happen. Bonk, bonk, bonk. What? The red hot. Are not knowing what in the world is going to happen at quarterback for them next year. I don't think the Cam Newton experiment went very well, so I think they go a different route in the offseason. But yeah, I'm going to say my upset pick is the Jets.
Dude, how long have you and I been saying Cam Newton is not a good quarterback?
Right? For a long time.
Came into the league. Like, even when he won his MVP, we're like, how? He's not a good quarterback. Like, okay, he ran the ball a bunch of times, but no, he sucks as a quarterback. And they went to the playoffs, and everybody's like, Cam Newton's a god. And it was their defense that got him there. 100%. Terrible, man. Terrible.
Yeah.
The Cam Newton experiment is not going to work on any team.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think it will. Yeah, you are correct. Next matchup, playoff implication: the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. I get to go first on this one. I keep on getting burned all the time because I'm not picking the Cowboys, and I said I wouldn't pick them ever again, and then after I said that, they keep on winning these freaking games. So I'm going with the Cowboys because I don't want to get burned again. They better not jinx me after all this time. Going with the Cowboys.
You're going to hate me. I'm going with the Giants.
You kept on picking the Cowboys.
I don't think they can beat the Giants. Like, the Giants' defense is good. But yeah, they've kind of been on a good roll. Amari Cooper stepped up. Ezekiel Elliott's still looking like he's overpaid. I don't think he'll be on the team much longer. Honestly, Tony Pollard's been doing a lot better than Zeke. But yeah, I think the Giants still get this game done. I think they're going to win it.
Oh my goodness. Killing the Smalls. All right. Next matchup, the Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, you can go first.
I think the Bucks aren't playing everybody, right? Because they're already in.
They're in, yeah.
But they have no chance of winning their division.
Yeah, because
they lost both games to the Saints. So, yeah, I don't know if they're actually going to play everybody or if they're going to sit people. I haven't seen anything on it, so I don't know. It makes it difficult. Like, the Bucks are the better team, but if they're sitting everybody, the Falcons can win this game. They could sneak it out. But I can't go with the team that has given up the most fourth quarter losses, the most fourth quarter leads in the NFL this year. They've gone into the fourth quarter with more leads than any other team and have lost them. So I'm going to go with the Bucks on this one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to go with the Bucks just because of the Falcons not being able to hold any type of leads. So yeah, I agree with you on that. All right, next matchup, playoff implications. The Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears.
What's your pick?
This is going to be my pick. I am going to go with the Packers on this one. Just because Aaron Rodgers is looking like he's locked up the MVP. It seems like it's pretty much a done deal. So, yeah, they have a lot on the line, so they'll play and they'll take it seriously because they want that first round bye. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Packers.
More than just wanting the first round bye, Aaron Rodgers actually said, like, they asked him, "Are you going to sit out during this game since you guys are already in the playoffs?" He's like, "If you think I'm going to sit out against the Bears, you need to quit your job." I'm going to lock this in that it's the Packers. And Aaron Rodgers is going to throw probably 4 or 5 touchdowns and just demolish the Bears. Like, he's going to make this game silly and kick the Bears out of the playoffs.
Ooh, man. Love it. Alrighty. Next matchup, the Las Vegas Raiders and the Denver Broncos. 2 eliminated teams playing against each other.
Yep. There's still pride to be had. No, Raiders.
Yep, I gotta go with the Raiders too. I can't. I agree with you on never picking the Broncos. So I'm in the same boat with you on that.
I will predict something though. If the Raiders lose this game, flat out, Derek Carr will not be a Raider next year because they blame him for it, even though our defense is the reason for most of our losses this year. The only loss that I would place this year on Derek Carr was the Atlanta Falcons. That is the only loss that I would place on him because he fumbled the damn ball 3 times. Like, get rid of the ball, dude. Like, what are you doing? But every other loss, he has put up 24 to 30 points every game. Like, he has been efficient. He's been a team captain. Like, I mean, he's gone out there. He's been a field general. Like, he's handled business. But the defense just gives up 35 points a game. Like, you can't win games doing that. I don't care how prolific your offense is. If the Chiefs were giving up 35 points a game, we wouldn't be talking about them being a number 1 team. We wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, it's stupid. And honest to God, if the Raiders lose this game, Derek Carr will not be the quarterback of the Raiders next year. And I don't think he wants that. So I think they're going to win it. Like, it's I don't know. Got to get that car insurance, right?
Oh gosh, like you're cut off. I don't know how do you do that on a middle of our pick here.
On Skype?
Yeah.
I've still got you on Skype. Oh, it's just frozen.
I didn't see a low battery percentage.
Get your battery charging, man. And now I'm losing this. Are you losing the... Okay, we're still on the podcast, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just got a notification that it was being